Sir, please start the recording.
Recording has been started.
Okay, sir.
No problem. So we'll start unit 1. It is related to introduction to fluid mechanics. So this Moodle is not applicable to you. I created Moodle last year, but this year onward, I am completely shifted to MS Teams. And obviously WhatsApp group is there to increase our interaction and for our convenience. And if you have any difficulty, obviously you can mail me. I have already dropped an email to your mailbox, so you can drop it to me. So course plan, everything is okay, but ignore the date. Last year, classes was started from August. So you please ignore the date. Rest is okay. So we'll try to cover it in two classes, and if some portions are left, so we'll cover it in the beginning of third class. So this is the objective of unit 1. So at the end of this unit, you will be able to identify and describe typical fluid properties and their units and dimensions. And second one is to explain the various fluid phenomena by giving physical reasoning. So I will evaluate your learning outcomes with help of a quiz, and then your tutorial teacher Dr. Tarmay Mandal will provide you some numerical problems. You will take up also a couple of numerical problems in your class, so that you can get acquainted with the solving tactics, and then you will solve the rest of the problems in your test and submit it to MS Teams by scanning your exercise book. So old question comes again and again. You might have faced these questions for innumerable times. The difference between solid and fluid, and if fluid is further classified as liquid and gas. So what is the difference between solid and fluid, and then liquid and gas? And we have been answering these questions since our school days. So solid, as you see, a spring network is shown. It means that it possesses elastic property, closely knit molecules. It can deform, but when you withdraw the forces, the deformation will disappear and it will regain back its shape and size. But this doesn't happen with fluid. Next is free surface. This free surface is you can say demarcation between a liquid and gas. How can you demarcate between liquid and gas? That is, liquid can form a free surface, whereas gas cannot. You can think of putting some liquid in a jar, but you cannot put gas in a jar unless this jar is closed from all sides. So a lid should be put under the jar to confine the glass, because confine the gas, because gas cannot form a free surface. The molecules are very loosely packed. So these are the basic difference of solid and fluid. I request you to please refer the book of F.M. White. There also you will get some interesting discussion regarding the differences of solid, liquid, and gas. Ebooks are available in the internet, and I request you to please share any ebooks, any materials related to fluid mechanics which you think would be useful for the students to WhatsApp. Okay, those who are having copyright issues would like to share the WhatsApp, not through the MS Teams. Otherwise, our institute will receive a copyright violation notification. So that is completely unwanted.
Sir, if there is no problem, can you please use some Hindi?
Hindi.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I can use, but the problem is that the medium of instruction is English. I think when you took admission in first year, is written in your brochure, the medium of instruction is Hindi. So I also use medium of instruction is English, not Hindi. I can also use Hindi. When you feel a certain meaning cannot be understood by you, so that meaning can be interpreted in Hindi, although Hindi is not my first language. So many of the meanings cannot be exactly translated into Hindi, but at least we can try using some Google Translator. But it is highly unexpected that the whole lecture will be delivered in Hindi. Okay, there are some you see ways our institute is thinking of to deliver some of the subjects in Hindi, but the process is ongoing. You see, what would be the methodology? Like probably in near future, two groups will be formed. In one group, the subject like fluid mechanics will be delivered in English. In another group, the subject of fluid mechanics will be delivered in Hindi. The student can join in either of the groups. But right now, there is no class which is going on in Hindi. So I think you can understand my limitations. And another thing is, every language has its own value, but being an engineer, you have to connect with the world. Do you know what your seniors are doing? Your seniors before Corona, we used to regularly organize alumni meet, where alumnus of our institute, MNIT Allahabad, used to come. They interact with the teachers, college administrators, and the students. So I found that many of your seniors, even from civil engineering background, they are actually doing some consultancy job for their employer. The employer may be a bank, private bank or public bank. The employer may be a IT company. The employer may be engineering enterprise. But when you do consultancy, right now the consultancy is a global one. You cannot say that everywhere the people will speak in a same language. So it is not possible. And the language for global communication is still English. Okay. People are comparing India and China because these two are the most populous, you see, economy, most populous economy, and people are comparing India and China on different aspects. At least in one aspect, we are well ahead than China. That is, our graduates have more proficiency in English as compared to Chinese graduates. We have an edge, and this age we don't have in recent times, but this age we are having for last so many years. So obviously you don't want to lose this. So when you are within India, that's fine, no problem. You can manage with a particular language. But when you need to communicate with global community, so obviously there you have to have an expertise in English. You know, Spanish is the language which is spoken by most number of countries. But if you see the number of people who can speak in English, obviously that is one of the highest. So please try to devote some time in English. I know many of you didn't come from English medium. Most of the people came from vernacular medium, and I was also from vernacular medium. But if you please try to understand, try to read books which is written in English, so probably along with your mother tongue, you will also understand and learn a subject like English, and it will obviously make you more sellable because you are studying engineering. You could have studied arts, you could have studied commerce, you could have studied any subject, fine arts, anything, but you have chosen studying engineering. So I can guess that obviously my case cannot be 100% correct. You want to make yourself a professional. You want to make yourself as a professional. Like most of the students will seek for job, and you will obviously get good jobs because you know, despite the corona times, our institute is one of the best NITs in delivering good jobs to our students. So our training and placement is quite active. And most of the students like you will get good jobs, and some of your students will pursue higher studies. Okay, and for both the cases, proficiency in English will be seen. So you cannot expect in your job interview or in your interview which is required for your higher study, if you want to pursue higher study, the question will be asked in your language, and questions you will be given a opportunity to speak in your language. So you cannot expect it. But obviously when we conduct viva, etc., so we allow the student to speak in their language. The only thing is that your language should be understood by your teacher. So not such language barrier is there, but I request you to please try to spend some time with English if you really feel you're weak in English. Listening to some English, like reading at least the editorial page of a newspaper would really help you. So this is my suggestion. And whenever you feel some difficulty, like if you don't know the meaning of cohesion, if you don't understand the meaning of cohesion, you see a cohesion is written in blue word. So you please let me know. I will try to explain it in Hindi. The cohesion किसको कहते हैं? Probably you can search on Google and get a suitable Hindi word which can best describe cohesion. Okay. So is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
and in my
Yes, sir.
slides, I don't put words only. I don't put visualizations only. I also put a lot of words so that you can also use my slide as a book. So whatever figures I have shown to you in the previous slide, so some explanation is there. As I told you, solid molecules are considered as a closely packed or rigid. So there is a definition called a rigidity. So we will also see it because whenever the question will be there, the solid molecules are closely packed and it is called rigid, then immediately the question will come, can you quantify the rigidness or called rigidity? So in engineering mechanics, you have studied the term rigidity probably in different term, in different name. So we'll discuss it. And in fluid, molecules are not so closely packed and can move freely, but there is a limit. There is a limit called cohesion force or cohesion. The solid molecules can move freely. How much? How far it can move? So two molecules of same fluid can have an attractive force, and that is called cohesion. So let's Google cohesion.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes, please.
Sir, can you verify this point? If you said in starting that solid can change shape when force is removed, then it regains its shape. You said this or not?
Which one?
So that solids can
Solid
change
can-
shape when force is applied, and it regains its shape when force is removed.
Yes.
Is it true?
Yes.
Okay, sir.
Yes. If you withdraw the force and allow the solid for some time, it will regain its shape because of the elasticity. Because of the elasticity. But when you put a force on the fluid, so it will just flow. It will not come back to its original shape.
But sir, if we apply the force which is above the elastic limit, then it will not come to regain the shape, right?
Yes, there is upper limit always. The fluid will not, the solid will not become solid. It will become plastic. So plastic is a, you can say, the intermediate state between a solid and fluid. Have you heard? Plastic.
Yes.
Plastic. There is a limit.
Yes,
So
sir.
whatever you have studied in engineering mechanics, that is within the elasticity limit. You have not crossed elasticity limit. Now we will study a subject called strength of materials. So how many courses you will study strength of materials? Probably 2 courses. So this course, if you study 1 course of strength of materials, you will get some flavor of plasticity. Okay. Some flavor of plasticity. Otherwise, in in 4th semester, we will study strength of materials. To please check with your syllabus. Their plasticity will be discussed. So it is English to Hindi. Cohesion. ये कुछ मीनिंग बता रहे हैं. एकजुटता. Cohesion means एकजुटता. It is not a very scientific term in Hindi. एकजुटता इसका कोई scientific term होगा. But I think the meaning is clear. But this ekjutta is among the same fluid. Like water molecules has an attraction with or attraction or affinity with water molecule. So this is called cohesion. But water molecules, if you put some other liquid into water, so to put other liquid like water, and the water molecules with some other liquid molecules will also have attraction, but that is not cohesion. That is known as adhesion. So term यहाँ पे type करता हूँ. Adhesion, आसंजन. This is also kind of attraction, but the attraction of two different molecules, two molecules of different fluid.
Sir,
Yes,
when I was talking about Hindi language, I did not mean that the each term you should tell in Hindi. I was just saying that the theory which you are speaking between should be in Hindi, so that it could be comfortable. These words are understandable, sir.
Understandable. That's good. But you see, I cannot speak. I can speak in Hindi for an hour. But thing is, my institute has not given me instruction to take class in Hindi. Because when you took admission in BTech, it was written somewhere the medium of instruction is in English.
Okay, sir, you can continue the way you are teaching always, sir.
You see?
Okay, sir, we have no problem.
We have no problem, so you can continue.
Probably I will violate rules. I will violate rules. but I will definitely check. I will definitely check it from my head of the department to whether I can take the whole class in Hindi. So give me a minute. I will come back. Yes, welcome back. So there is a term called rigidity. In some books, it is known as CR modulus, and that is a ratio of CR stress to CR strain. So we have found a elasticity, the stress by strain. So you have to define which stress we are talking about. So two types of stress may occur. One is normal stress, another is shear stress. So in normal stress, the force is acting perpendicular to the surface, whereas in shear stress, force is acting parallel to the surface. So when you talk about rigidness or rigidity, so the magnitude of rigidity can be found by ratioing shear stress and shear strain. So this value would give an idea how much the body is rigid. So we have also seen in terms in case of fluid. So there are two forces. It is known as these are known as intermolecular forces, cohesion and adhesion. Cohesions are the attractive forces, attraction forces between the molecules of same fluid, and adhesion, ADHESION, adhesion are the attraction forces of molecules between two different objects. So adhesion may be between two different liquids. Adhesion may be between a liquid and a solid. I can give you an example. Like you put some liquid in a jar, in a glass jar. Now you will see the fluids are sticking to your solid surface, that is a glass surface of the jar. So if the liquid is water or anything, so you will see the fluid, the water molecules are adhering to the surface of the jar. So you can say a glass molecule will have an affinity with a liquid molecule like water molecule will have affinity with a glass molecule, and that is nothing by adhesion. Now you also know that glue etc which you use for your work so is known as adhesive. Any glue you use it for your paperwork or for some painting work is known as adhesive. And why it is called adhesive? Because it has a better property of adhesion. These liquids have better adhesion properties, higher adhesive force. So if you see gas, so gas has a very weak cohesive force. The intermolecular forces of gas are very weak. So that's why it has no you can say attractive forces among themselves, and it can freely move. And now the movement of the magnitude of movement depends on mainly temperature of the gas, ambient temperature. So if you heat the gas, you will see the molecules will run faster. Obviously all these phenomena cannot be seen in naked eye, This is all. These are discussed on molecular aspect. So you see the rigidity or CR modulus expression. So here rigidity is denoted by N. So this portion of discussion is taken from the book of F.M. White. So in not in many books the difference between solid, liquid, and gas is presented in such a way. But I find this presentation very useful because we are engineers, so everything should be seen from engineering aspect, like shear stress and shear strain. Then bulk modulus. We have studied these terminologies in engineering mechanics. Bulk modulus. The bulk modulus, we are talking about changing the shape of a liquid of a solid under pressure. So you give an amount of pressure to a solid. So let the pressure be P. Now increase the pressure by some value, say dP. Increase the pressure by some value dP. So what will be unit change in pressure? It is like dP, dP by P. If your P is 1, so unit change in pressure is P. And by changing the pressure, so there must be some change in volume. So you calculate what is the change in volume. So let the change in volume be dV. And from that you can calculate volumetric strain. So your volumetric strain will be dV by V if your initial volume is V. So bulk modulus definition says that it is unit change in pressure, that is dP, divided by volumetric strain dV by V. Now if you put a pressure, so your volume will always shrink. So that's why your volumetric strain dV by V must bear a negative sign. So if you see your expression of bulk modulus, it must carry a negative sign. Okay. Then compressibility. So as compared to bulk modulus, compressibility is a frequently used term. We may also use this term for fluid. Compressibility is the reciprocal of bulk modulus. So this will be volumetric strain divided by unit change in pressure. Like bulk modulus of water. Bulk modulus of water is 2.2 into 10 raised to minus 9 Newton per meter square. Because you see, in the expression of bulk modulus, in the denominator, volumetric strain is a non-dimensional because the ratio of volume to volume. So the unit of bulk modulus will be just for the unit of pressure. So you all know the unit of pressure is Newton per meter square in SI system. So if you want to make the change of volume of water by pressurizing it, so you need to give a pressure of 2.2 into 10 raised to 9 Newton, the huge pressure. Can you see the power associated with the 10 raised to 9, the huge amount of pressure is required to compress the water. So water cannot be easily compressed. But if you can arrange this huge amount of pressure, water will also compress. So that's why water is considered as an incompressible fluid. But when we talk about incompressible fluid, the misnomer is there. That is, if we call water is incompressible, then it is not incompressible for any amount of loading, any amount of pressure. Under certain pressure, like huge amount of pressure, so water will also be compressible. So it is always better to consider the flow as compressible, not as a fluid compressible. So water can be compressible or incompressible depending on the condition. Hmm. So that's why I would prefer to use the term compressible or incompressible with the flow, but not with the fluid. The same fluid can be compressible in one case, the same fluid cannot be compressible in another.
Sir,
Like
what is the
you can
difference
take
between
the
context of flow and fluid?
flow and fluid.
Yes,
See,
sir.
water is a fluid. Hmm. It has a certain property, physical property, and when the water is made to flow, so you may call it as a not water but water flow. Okay, so some dynamic properties are associated with it. Like water has no velocity, but water flow has a velocity. Okay. Then we'll evaluate some ideal thing, because you see some standards should be maintained. So the standard for solid is perfect solid. Oh, what is considered as a perfect solid? If the bulk modulus value and rigidity value is a non-zero, so this is called perfect solid. Now you can arrange a number of solid and calculate the rigidity and bulk modulus. You will find it as a non-zero value, so known as perfect solid. Then perfect fluid. For a perfect fluid, the rigidity and bulk modulus both will be zero. And for a perfect liquid, the liquid, perfect liquid is incompressible. So even water cannot be considered as a perfect fluid. But when you talk about an example of fluid, we consider the water. Because in case of perfect fluid, the water is incompressible. But can we call water is incompressible under any circumstance? No. Under a very high pressure, water is also compressible. But within this range, you can consider water as a perfect liquid. Then perfect gas. For a perfect gas, you see, bulk modulus will be of two types. Two bulk modulus will exist. One is isothermal bulk modulus, that is just pressure. Other is isentropic bulk modulus. These are two thermal conditions. In one case, if you maintain the temperature of gas constant, then isothermal bulk modulus will be equal to the pressure of the gas. And if you consider entropy constant, so your bulk modulus will be pressure multiplied by gamma. What is gamma? It is a ratio of two specific heat, Cp by Cv. So gamma value for air is 1.4. But if you put some inert gas with air, so your gamma value will get changed. Okay. So these are all definitions, and with help of definition, how can you set the perfect solid, perfect liquid, and perfect fluid? Now we'll see some real life examples. So we all discuss it right now. So I put a slide with some words so that you can read these slides and things will be understood by you. If still you cannot understand, you please refer back my video recording. We'll mostly discuss with compressible flows because that is the takeaway. We are not dealing with solid but fluid in this course. So our objective is to deal with the compressibility. So this is another way to see the compressibility definition. Like we'll find out what is the speed of sound in an isentropic condition. The speed of sound in an isotropic condition. Without proof, those who are interested in proof must refer to some chapters of compressible fluid. So mechanical students, your friends who have taken admission in mechanical engineering, they will get an opportunity to study the compressible flow. And I'll see if we get some time at the end, I will take 2-3 hours lecture on primary aspects of compressible flow. But without proof, please accept that the sonic speed, sonic is an adjective with sound. The sonic speed or sound velocity of a sound propagating in a fluid medium at an isentropic condition can be expressed as under root dp by d rho. You please note the symbol, the p, dp, that is the change in pressure divided by change in density. Whenever a sound is propagating in a fluid, the sound energy will try to change the pressure as well as density in a fluid medium. And if you maintain the condition isentropy, so this will be your sonic speed. Now for incompressible flow, incompressible flow says that your pressure variation would be zero. Your pressure variation would be zero. And this is not true completely. Incompressible flow says that your pressure variation will be negligible. It may not be zero. So how much pressure variation you can allow? 5% of the original. If it is within 5%, it is okay. If it is beyond 5%, the flow will no longer be incompressible. Okay. So at the end, you see, I have modified my statement. So for incompressible flow, your density variation should be within 5%. So rho is your original density and d rho is the change of density, change in density. So your d rho by rho will be less than 5%. But you considered if your d rho is very small, so what will be your sonic speed? Your sonic speed will be very high, very high. What is the physical significance? The physical significance is in case of incompressible flow, if there is any pressure pulse created anywhere, because sound can be considered as a pulse of pressure. So if there is any pressure pulse created anywhere in the fluid, so that will be immediately felt at all other points in case of incompressible flow. But this is not true when the flow is compressed. Now you consider a case.
Sir,
You can see, yes, please.
sir, here S stand for in isentropic, where S is constant.
No, see, isentropic is a case where entropy is constant. So entropy is denoted by S. So just by putting a suffix x, we denote that here S value is constant.
Yes, sir.
So terminologies may be different in different books. So I follow a certain terminology. You always ensure what symbol I am using in my slide.
Sir, this isentropic is similar to the adiabatic condition.
No, adiabatic is different. Adiabatic is different. In case of adiabatic difference, some other notation should be. So in case of thermal problem, we use adiabatic condition. Here we use azeotropic condition because this is related with energy. So I'm giving you a practical example. Like you consider the movement of a ceiling fan. What is the speed of a ceiling fan? It is a supersonic speed? No. The speed is very much less than the sonic speed. But you consider the movement of a gas turbine. So gas turbine you may not know, but it is an engine, the heart of an engine of an aircraft. So consider the supersonic fighter aircraft, and a gas turbine generates all the power so that your aircraft can uh, fly at a supersonic speed. Okay, so both these rotating machines, namely your ceiling fan and your gas turbine, handles air, but the airflow generated by your ceiling fan is in incompressible range, whereas the same air, when handled by the gas turbine, will be in supersonic range. So I gave you a statement that the compressibility or incompressibility must be associated with flows but not with fluids. Now we can see the same air can be compressible, can be incompressible under different circumstances. So that why it is appropriate to use the compressibility incompressibility with flows. A particular airflow can be incompressible under certain circumstances. A particular airflow can be compressible under certain circumstances. But if you say, you just tell me as compared to a solid, whether air is incompressible or compressible, you cannot give the right answer because it is flow dependent. So Mach number, a non-dimensional number, is introduced, and in subsequent sections of this course you will see the importance of Mach number. Mach number is a ratio of two parameters, similar parameters, like two velocities. So one is flow velocity in the numerator and the sonic velocity in the denominator, the ratio of flow velocity and sonic velocity. So like you want to calculate Mach number of airflow. So you calculate what is the velocity at which air is flowing. You calculate the 20 meter per second. Then you calculate what is the sonic velocity. Means if the sound is propagating in the air at the same temperature, because sound velocity is dependent on temperature. To change the temperature, your sound velocity will be changed, because you have seen the expression. If you change the temperature, your density will be changed. Your denominator d rho in the sound expression, sound velocity expression, that will change, and therefore your sonic temperature, sonic velocity will change. So if you are doing this experimentation, say at 20 degrees Celsius, so calculate what is the sound velocity through air at 20 degrees Celsius. So these data are available in the handbook. You really didn't do this experiment. So calculate. So let it be 330 meter per second. So it will be 20 meter per second divided by 330 meter per second. So you calculate and you will get a Mach number, which is obviously less than 1. So for a value of Mach number less than 0.33, just 1/3. Now why we have taken the value of Mach number as 0.33? Because if you maintain the Mach number up to 0.33, it will ensure that your density variation would be within 5%. So either you use density variation within 5% or Mach number. So popular is Mach number. If your Mach number is less than 0.33, you consider the flow as incompressible. It is seen that even if you run your ceiling fan at a full speed, so your ceiling fan can generate a airflow having Mach number much less than 0.33. Therefore, airflow generated by your ceiling fan must be incompressible. Okay, but some other device like say supersonic wind tunnel, transonic wind tunnel, gas turbine. So when it handles air or any gas, so the Mach number of this would be much higher. We have 6 minutes time, so we can take another concept, a very interesting concept. Actually, this defines you the boundary of fluid mechanics. You are studying fluid mechanics, but fluid mechanics is so vast that you cannot really digest everything in this curriculum. Like we won't handle compressible flow in detail. We won't handle particle fluid mechanics. So your elementary fluid mechanics is bounded, is restricted by several boundaries. So one such boundary is fluid continuum. So two approaches are followed when you study the fluid motion. The fluid motion. One is Eulerian approach. You please see the spelling and pronunciation. It is the Eulerian approach, the concept given by Leonhard Euler. In case of Eulerian approach, we consider bulk movement of fluid. Like I can give you an example, like a number of several particles together. Like when 10 of friends are going for a movie together, so we may consider not by asking you individual, we consider the students of humanities are going to enjoy a movie. So this is called Eulerian approach, a bulk approach. Another is Lagrangian approach. This is named after the mathematician Lagrange. Lagrangian approaches tracks down individual particles. Like in the previous example, if I name each and every student, and if I can track the movement of each and every student, so this is what is known as Lagrangian. I can give you another example. These examples you can see on every Republic Day parade. You know, Republic Day parade is telecasted by Doordarshan, DD, and you see the camera setting. There are two types of camera setting. So on the Rajpath, Doordarshan fixes camera at different points. Okay, and when a certain contingent of army or air force or navy passes through the viewfinder of this camera, so they consider at as a group of contingent parading before the honorable president. Here camera is not moving, camera is constant, and whoever is coming within the viewfinder of camera is only showing that. So this is similar to Eulerian approach, whereas some cameras are there which is mounted by the camera on the shoulder of the camera, and cameramen are moving. They are sometimes catches the little child enjoying the Republic Day parade. Sometimes they can show the facial expression of the captain who is leading a particular parading contingent. So these cameras are moving and can track each and individual particle, each and individual person involved in the parade or enjoying the Republic Day parade. So that is known as Lagrangian approach. Now, if 10 students of humanities are going for enjoying a movie, and if somebody wants to track each and every student, obviously that is not a very pleasant affair. Nobody wants to such incident, but you see, if this thing happens, then how many cameras you would require for Lagrangian approach? 10 cameras. Each camera will track every student. But in case of Eulerian approach, you require only one camera, and that too at a fixed location. Okay, so you see, Eulerian approach is always easier. So that's why in fluid mechanics, we'll only follow the Eulerian approach. But there are some branches of fluid mechanics known as statistical fluid mechanics, particle fluid mechanics, where we apply Lagrangian approach. But this Lagrangian approach is not included in your syllabus. So sometimes we will give you some examples of Lagrangian approach, and that is just for enhancing the knowledge, your knowledge. In the Eulerian approach, most important thing is control volume. So in next class, we'll discuss about control volume, and after the control volume, the concept of continuum would be clear to you. So with this, I want to stop.
Sir, if Eulerian approach is tracking only from a fixed position, then it must be less accurate than Lagrange one.
Not really, because if you maintain a continuous flow, you see what is your objective. If your objective is to see the bulk movement of particle, then it's good. If your objective to track a single individual particle, then your Eulerian approach will not be useful. So it depends on your objective. Like you know, laptops are available at 25,000 rupees, and laptops are available at 1,25,000 rupees. So it depends on what you will do with your laptop. If you just want to attend a class, so probably 25,000 laptop will be okay. But if you want to play game, so your 25,000 laptop will not be helpful to you. It depends on object. We are doing multi-phase flow where solid particles are mixed with liquid. So in case of multi-phase flow, your Eulerian approach will not give you much benefit. So you have to go for a Lagrangian approach. Okay, it depends on the objectives of your study or research. Okay.
Okay, sir. Understood, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
So I am taking your attendance, final attendance.
So would you
So it
share
is
the
good.
slides, today's slides?
So slide and all the documents which I have shown to you is already available in MS Teams. You please check. And I have also sent you a WhatsApp message. I think you are not connected to WhatsApp. So please request
Sir,
your
I
CR
just
to get connected to this.
Yes.
So I am most up to date in this manner. I usually put my class note first and then I take class. So the student cannot face any problem. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.